In a cinematic universe where half of all living beings have already died and come back to life, Black Panther Wakanda Forever reminds us that losing one person can feel just as devastating. The death of T'Challa and actor Chadwick Boseman weighs heavy on Wakanda Forever, with the fictional nation struggling to replace both their monarch and their champion, and Marvel Studios deciding how to honor a man it was clearly ready to work with for years to come. Wakanda Forever is an effective, emotional farewell to T'Challa, a meditation on forging one's own future out of a painful past, but with a plot that has to introduce an entirely new nation and pave the way for a new wave of Marvel stories. It does struggle under the weight of all that expectation. Black Panther Wakanda Forever wastes no time addressing Boseman's passing, and the funeral procession that follows speaks to the incredibly fine line Wakanda Forever has to walk. There's joyous dancing and celebration of what T'Challa brought to his nation, but Shuri's solemnity as she moves through holding T'Challa's Panther helmet is a strong reminder of the conflicting emotions she and the movie at large have to balance. Right has mostly been used as comic relief up to this point, and Shuri's character arc necessitates refocusing that energy into how she processes her pain. It's a sharp about-face, but Wright's emotional availability and intensity carry Shuri through that fraught grieving process. It doesn't take long for the power vacuum left by T'Challa's death to incite a challenge to Wakanda from the outside world. There's immense political pressure for Wakanda to submit to regulations the country's leadership fears will endanger the world. That ire is directed at Ramonda, who's acting as a steward to the throne. At once heartbroken and hopeful, Bassett delivers a commanding performance, and as King T'Chaka did for T'Challa, provides Shuri with a connection to her culture's past. But though the United Nations ultimatum for Wakanda to relinquish control of its resources sets up Wakanda Forever's themes of colonialism well, this storyline is largely abandoned after the conflict draws Namor and his underwater kingdom of Talokan into the fray. As that society's figurehead, Namor is an engaging antagonist, wreaking havoc on the battlefield. But while he's a force to be reckoned with, Tenoch Huerta Mejia's performance is at its best in Namor's intense dialogue scenes with Shuri, as the two share much in common as important members of their monarchy's royal families.
My mother told stories about a place like this, a protected land with people that never have to leave, that never have to change who they were.
Coogler and co-writer Joe Robert Cole infused Talokan's culture with Mesoamerican history, which gives Namor's resolve to protect his people's home and resources a real richness. But much of our understanding of it comes from narration during a rushed flashback of its origins, and some important details feel brushed over. Of course, an opposing force of a nation of undersea warriors provides Wakanda Forever ample opportunity for maritime mayhem, and gives the MCU a new palette for action. Wakanda Forever does, however, push its luck too far going into the climactic third act battle with a poorly conceived and logically baffling tactical choice on the part of the Wakandans. Befitting Wakanda Forever's outsized emphasis on community, T'Challa's peers are called on to step into older sibling roles for Shuri, and the supporting cast rise to meet the moment. Okoye is ready to put her career on the line to help Shuri through her grieving process. Winston Dukes M'Baku is a scene stealer from the moment he saunters in. T'Challa's influence is at its most visible in how the Jabari leader's edges have softened. And as T'Challa's love, Nakia ends up supporting Shuri through the most personal parts of her journey, and while she enters the story too late to make too much of an impact, she does facilitate some memorable moments in the movie's latter half. The new additions to Wakanda Forever's roster represent a tendency of the films to overindulge in the other ongoing plot lines the MCU is building out, with Dominique Thorne's fiery, industrious Riri Williams as the best example. Riri's personality is infectious, and her appearance certainly sets an interesting stage for Disney Plus's Ironheart series, but Wakanda Forever bends over backwards and burns valuable time on keeping her involved in the action. The saving grace there is that Riri gives Shuri someone to act as an older sibling for as a means of celebrating T'Challa, something that Coogler takes maybe too light a touch in highlighting. It may be the nature of making movies in this universe these days, but there is a significant disconnect between scenes in Wakanda Forever that feel vital in how they develop characters and the ones that just feel more like homework for next time.
Have I not given everything?
Black Panther Wakanda Forever had to be a sequel to a cultural juggernaut, a tease of upcoming MCU adventures, and of course, a loving farewell. There are stretches where the struggle to balance those mandates scatters the focus of the story, but nuanced and committed performances from the returning cast keep it grounded when it counts. Tenoch Huerta Mejia's Namor is a strong foil to Shuri, and his nation of Talokan gets a thoughtful, if rushed, history to complement the film's themes of colonialism. Director co-writer Ryan Coogler's efforts are at their most powerful when Wakanda Forever is in conversation with the loss of T'Challa, of Chadwick Boseman. The specifics of Wakanda Forever's long-winded plot will likely leave little impact, but that doesn't stop the new Black Panther from standing tall. Thanks for watching. Be sure to keep an eye out for our reviews of One Piece film Red and Black Adam, and as always, be sure to follow and subscribe wherever you like to watch IGN.